Nothing to smoke today. I should have pissed early when I went to the coffee shop, but I did get a coffee. It's a little 12-ounce Americano here. So, yeah, man. Peace to the Southside. You know, I done nothing but show up in peace. Right here is just crazy. I was looking for coffee nearby. I was looking for coffee shops, and trying to find something like kind of. I should have went. There was one up the street from my house. Come to find out, they open at 5 p.m. So I was like, damn, I'm heading that way. I was like, let me Google Map this or whatever real quick, and then I come to find out that they were open. They open at 5 for whatever reason. I don't know what that means. I don't know why it's like that. But, yeah. So I ended up just catching a bus going south. You know what I'm saying? Same neighborhood, but it's a different area, different section. Blader, what's up? And then there's like a coffee shop that we used to go to that's like a block from this place we used to work out at. We used to do a screama practice over there. And I would like me, my guru, and all these other people that we would train with. Like, want to grab some coffee? Let's go. And then we would just go to this coffee place, and it's funny because it's next to it's literally like next to my homie's old house, like the house my homie grew up in. It's like right there, and I don't even they moved out like 2010s or something like that. I forget, but he grew up next to like a chop shop. So the shit used to be oh, folks is in here, let's go. And then he grew up next to this chop shop, and we used to just throw shit over, from his porch, just throw it over the top all the time. But it's just like that was us as kids, and then as teenagers, and then it's just it look whole different right now. It look way different right now. Like yeah, the whole neighborhood's gentrified. It is what it is. It's just like I decided to get off the bus early to take a walk down memory lane. Like I used to walk. We're me and him live on the same street, but we're just like half a mile to a mile apart. So I used to just walk down that street, and yeah, I used to just run to everyone, classmates to neighbors, and then it's just all different now. So I decided to walk the little 2 blocks around the bend. We used to skateboard in that area. We used to skateboard in that area, and then we had a one of his neighbors used to like try to sick the dogs on us on some funny shit. We used to be trying to skate away hella fast, so that was that. But it's crazy. It's just funny. It's just hella different now. All these old houses and duplexes now they're like these high condo looking things, high rise condo looking things. It's hella weird. Really weird, man. But Abuzar, hi, nice. Thank you for being here. Wow, thank you for being here. So that's why I said peace to the South Side because we're in the heart of it right now. I'm not even gonna film it, out of respect for people I know. Matter of fact, I didn't even know one of my homies was from this hood, but like I remember after high school, I mean after it was like his freshman year, sophomore year, we didn't see this dude for a long time. Come to find out, he got deported. Like he wasn't like a citizen. What am I doing? I'm just chopping it up, man. Grab some coffee. I'm just chopping it up. I'm just gonna say M. Can you tell your story? I mean, it depends what you want to know. You ask me a question, I'll answer it. I'm just getting my little morning coffee and my morning steps. Hi, are you so handsome? Am I into trans? I'm not into trans. What are you talking about, man? No offense to you if you are, but I'm not. I don't know if that's what you're asking. Kind of a funny question. Nah, man. School story. I'm from the States, if that's what you're asking. School story? I mean, I guess since I'm here, I'm trying to think, man. Like, there's a lot of school stories. Pick one. Pick one. No, I know you're just asking, but yeah, I didn't want to be offensive to you either. But I'm not into that. Abuzar, when you say school story, you gotta pick like an age range. So then I'll give you something specific. You know, I guess I'll do a story based on that. Um, like you know what I mean? Like just pick like an age range, like high school, middle school, or like 13, 16, whatever. I don't know, something like that. That's been like almost 10 years ago, but I'll think of something. Yeah, definitely got some stories, man. Fifth class story, like fifth grade. Actually, hold on, that's funny because I kind of walk towards my elementary right now. But let me think about this, man. Fifth grade was interesting because like, what sign are you? If I don't mind, I'm a Cancer. If that's what you're asking. Um, Fifth grade is interesting because I went to the same school from kindergarten to fifth grade. We start walking, so it's like I couldn't wait to become a fifth grader because it's like, damn, I'm finally gonna be in charge or whatever. That whole feeling. So I remember being in fifth grade and like I don't want to say feeling like I was in charge, but then that feeling of like it's more of a responsibility. You know what I mean? Like I get it now because it's like there's kindergartners that see you as a big kid, but then again because I grew up as like the youngest of my cousins, I like the youngest of my cousins, like I just constantly thought people were older than me. You know what I mean? Barono, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. Not sure what the emojis mean. I just see a halo. All right, but yeah, it was an interesting time. Fifth grade was weird because I'll tell you this one story. There was this girl in fifth grade where I kind of told myself, I don't know why, I don't know where the peer pressure came from, but I was like, man, I gotta like learn how to talk to girls, and I'm like a fifth grader. So I'm not saying it shouldn't have mattered, but it should have mattered. Like I would talk to people casually, but me and this girl we're in the same grade. We're both in fifth grade, and I seen her around, and I was like, man, I don't know. I feel like if I stare at her long enough, she'll give me the attention I need. I had one of those kid mentalities where I didn't know how to talk to people, and then like I was also one of those kids where, let's say we're playing kickball. If we're playing kickball, I would try to kick the ball the hardest. I'll try to run the hardest just to get people's attention. So I think around that time period, I just kind of knew like I was a quiet attention seeker. You know what I mean? In fifth grade. But anyway, I remember constantly staring. Like it's kind of funny because I didn't realize this was going to backfire on me. I remember like every chance I got before the school bus would pick us up, I would just kind of like stare at her and see if she'd come over and say something. I don't know why I thought that would work. And then I remember towards the end of the year, we had to have this graduation ceremony. So the graduation ceremony said, we're going to pair people up from front to back of the last names alphabetically. So for whatever reason, me and her got paired up, and it was the most awkward thing for me because like we had to sit there and march down the fucking aisle. Or I mean, that sounds weird, but like march down the what do you call this shit? The I don't know what it's called, bro. It's like in the little lunchroom. I guess it's the aisle, but we're just like walking down. So mind you, this is in the era where people would have like Kodak film, and they would like take pictures of you, and then they would develop it at Walgreens or whatever. So fast forward to now, my niece was actually asking me, "Who the fuck is this?" Send me a picture of like me and her walking down the fucking thing, and she was like, "Who is this person? Like, what's going on here?" Because my niece is known, or I'm known to bring people around like family functions, like different girlfriends or like new people. So then like her seeing that shit, me as a fifth grader, and that's also like that's '05, so that's the same year that my niece was born. So she's like, "What's going on here?" Like it was just kind of a funny full circle moment. It was weird, but I guess my favorite thing in fifth grade, bro, um, we had this camp. So all the fifth graders get to go to this camp. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's a camp or Kyla. That's what they called it because that's the island that you went to. But realistically, the fifth graders, they would their parents would pitch some money in. You sign a permission slip, and then you end up going to like I don't know how to explain it. You catch this ferry that goes to like two or three different islands, and then I think by the second, I'm sorry, excuse me, by the third or fourth island, you end up at this campground. So for whatever reason, our school, like all the fifth graders, were all together at this camp. And what was really fun about that was we got to learn archery. Like we're in a hood ass school, so we don't know shit. You know what I mean? Every now and again, our elementary would get locked down because someone's shooting outside or there's someone like lingering in the area. We're like in a nice part of the neighborhood if we're being honest too. But we were still in proximity to like the crazy shit. We were just like over the hill, closer to the lake. But anyway, we went to this camp. Like all the fifth graders went to this camp, and then we had We had these activities like you could do bow and arrow, archery, and then there was this other activity where it's like you'd participate in helping cook the food for all of the students that were there, like all the schools that were there. You would help participate in the kitchen, and then you have to have like good like hygiene and sanitary practices. You can't use hand sanitizer. You got to like wash, scrub your hands with soap, shit like that. So they're really trying to teach kids just to be responsible. But there was one dude, man, because we went through this one area. I think it was like the second or third day. I forget exactly what it was. He had an allergy thing to pollen or something like that. Like I don't know what you call it, but he had this allergy thing. So we're going through this garden, and mind you, there's like bugs and like there's like beautiful flowers everywhere and shit. It's like a real nature looking area. We walked through. I swear to God, like 5 minutes we're there. This dude's his whole eye, like both of his eyes were just like puffy, like swelled the fuck up. So we're like, bro, what? He said, nah, I have a thing with pollen. I was like, bro, the whole place is pollinated. The whole place is just nice flowers and shit. So he was walking around for a while with just like, I don't know how to explain it, man. Like both of his both of his eyes were just swollen shut. They'd like rush him out of there and shit. That shit freaked me out. Um, so then we were worried about him, but then it's not like a drastic thing, not like a dire situation. But anyway, I remember this is when I knew I had like a fear of heights in this era too, where on the same camp thing they have this tightrope thing. It's like you walk on this tightrope. But there's like these two giant trees, and there's like a rope that goes across it, and you have to like walk on it. They put things around your waist, like these things to catch you if just in case you fall. But I remember like what's the word I'm looking for? Like when you're a kid, you're trying to be fearless. Like yeah, I don't think I'm just gonna pretend like things don't bother me so I can get used to it, and then I'll just be fearless or something like that. But this is where it really got me because that tightrope walking on it, I look like I'm walking across straight through, and I'm like scared because I feel like I'm gonna lose my balance. And I look down, and I'm halfway through. They're like James, you could do it. Right as I looked down, I was like, nah, I can't do it. Like James, you're like halfway through. I was like, nope. So like the when you're halfway through, it takes half the distance to get all the way back. So technically, I could have completed it, but just looking down let me know like I was like I cannot fuck with heights. So that was like really the confirmation that year. That was like the real confirmation, bro. Um, fifth grade was a trip, man. I think a lot of times I was really just thinking about when I think about elementary, I think about what life was like outside of school. I think I enjoyed coming to school because you know I was able to get away from everything. You know what I mean? Like I was able to get away from life itself. Not that I had like are you gone? All right. Yeah, but I don't know if I don't know the word is I'm looking for. It's like I'm not saying life was difficult, but I remember us going through like weird transitional phases where it's like I think around that same time. So the house I grew up in, we lived in it, but we didn't technically own it, if that makes sense. So like there was two houses next door to each other, and one of the houses where I grew up in, it's my grandpa, right? And the one next door is my grandma. So for whoever owned both properties, the yards were connected. We had a garden in the middle. This is before pea patches were a thing. And to my understanding, knowing my grandpa, even though he's like the hardworking, responsible person, he's kind of just like, you know what, I'm gonna let my sister own this shit. So I don't know. I don't remember who passed away. There's someone who passed away, and pretty much they inherited the land and the houses. And my grandpa's like, I don't even want to worry about that. I just want to work. That's his mentality. That's my grandpa's mentality. So I don't want to worry about that shit. I'm just gonna work. So hold on. I'm walking past my elementary right now. Let me click this camera. Let me cross the street first. I ain't trying to get hit by no damn cars. No, here we go. Damn. That's the elementary. And it's a lot, it looks the same, but the playground is a lot cleaner now. They're doing recess, so I'm not gonna walk over there like a creep. And be no fucking creep. I'm walking around. But yeah, this is the elementary I went to, man. Yes, sir. Coffee chat. This is my elementary here. Leschi Elementary. Named after Chief Leschi. Named after Chief Leschi. But yeah, it's interesting, man. What was I saying? Yeah, I think like starting around third and fourth, fifth grade or something like that. That's when it started to kind of change a bit. What the hell? third, fourth, and fifth, it started to change a bit. Like I think things at the house were getting a little rough, and then things within the family were starting to change. So, to my understanding, the hospital that's across the street from the house that I grew up in, which is funny because it's the same hospital I ended up working at, and then I quit. But that hospital, they wanted to buy the property of the two houses because you got to remember the other three houses, like up towards the corner, they were bought. Uh oh, transgender. Jerome Lawson? No, I'm not. But I'm gonna hide your message because if you're saying that out of trying to be a clown or disrespectful, you can get out of my chat. You know, see everyone like will do the whole. No, I was just asking, but I'm like, nah, you guys know what you're doing because a lot of you people don't talk like that in person. Video is blurry. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Everyone does that funny shit where like they'll, say you know exactly what you're doing. No one asked that shit right off the top. But yeah, no one's being aggressive either. That's what's funny. That's the funny part. But hey, I got you right here. Let's go. We'll give you 30. There you are. There it is. Let me see the deleted. Hey, listen, watch up, watch your mouth. You ain't gonna do shit, bro. You're not gonna do shit, Jerome. You're in timeout anyway. But no, man, it's an interesting time because it was an interesting time period because it was like we knew we were on the brink of having to like move out of the house. This guy said, "Watch your mouth," like he's in front of me. That's what I'm saying. It's some clown shit. I don't want to entertain that. So, um, yeah, I remember like that. It's one thing to be an adult during that time period where you're like, okay, I gotta move. I gotta figure out where to move next. So like, we're still living with my oldest brother. Mind you, we didn't grow up with him. So he had a different dad. So he grew up with his dad down in California, to my understanding. And he came to live with us in like 2002 or three. It was one of the years. And then it was basically the year that Fast and Furious came out. Mr. Shyam, welcome back, Shyam. Um, but the thing was, I don't know what the word is. Just like it was like it's a pressure for us as kids, to think like, damn, we're about to leave this house that we grew up in. And mind you, like family's kind of been in that area for generations, so it was a weird feeling. So we didn't want to leave the neighborhood. Now, mind you, next door they kind of had shit figured out. In our household, we're more like you know, like my mom and dad are immigrants, grandpa's an immigrant, so they can speak English, but it's like it's second to them, if that makes sense. So because it's second to them, it's a little more difficult communicating and understanding things. So having to move to another apartment, or like to find a new apartment, I should say, like for the first time, it was going to be a difficult task in itself. Shit, man. Make sure I found the right spot. So when you're asking about fifth grade, well, I had already went through 2 or 3 years of stress. No, 2 years. I'll say 2 years at the most. So by 0405, which should have been fifth grade, I had already been dealing with this. I don't know how to. It's hard to explain, man. It's like a yeah, mental stress as a kid. It is weird. It's weird that that's even a thing, but it was this pressure of like, damn, I'm not gonna live here no more. And then I remember later on having to like move like shit out of the house, and then just like uncovering things. Because when you start accumulating shit, you start putting things on top of other stuff. Um, you start uncovering old stuff. I started finding like but that's like later on. That's like 06, 07. So it would have been like within a year's time. But like all this stuff was just like kind of looming. You know what I mean? At that time, mind you, it's 05, so it's also like that was one of the years that my cousin graduated high school, and we were proud of her. You know what I'm saying? We're just like, damn, she's about to graduate and have life figured out. She's about to be an adult. So we were happy for her. And then 05 was also like an interesting year because, like I said, fifth grade, my niece was born. So, and it's funny because my niece was born and now she's in college. So it's funny to think like from 05 to now, like, she's like, yeah, she turned 20. That's funny. She turned 20 and she's been in college for like 2.5 years now. So 1 year, two, I think she's on her second year. I'm sorry. But yeah. You lost everything at 7. That's what I'm saying, man. It's like I think and that's what's crazy too is like you're right. I wasn't 7 though. I was like in my double digits, but still, man, like having friends that went through stuff like that early and then going through that later in life, I started to like I think around that time because I was this like hot-headed kid, I started to have empathy for people. Cuz like when you start going through shit, like I'm not religious, but I'm raised to have like faith, if that makes sense. So like I'm not like religious, but I'm spiritual in the sense that like, you know, people teach you faith, but then at the same time people will teach you like you just got to be strong. Like this is something you're going through, but at least you're not going through this. So there's always this weird comparison, and I don't know if that's good for kids either, but it's better than nothing. You know what I mean? Because when I had it, I was like, well, I say my whole life, I always thought I was middle class because my dad would tell me the story where he's like, we had a Game Boy Color, and then we're trying to get the Game Boy Advance, and then we had a Super Nintendo, and we're trying to get the 64. And each time we tried to upgrade systems, my dad was like, "Why do you want the new system? You should just give the other one away." I was like, "Why would we give the other one away?" He said, "You should send it to the Philippines because they don't have shit. They can't afford this shit." And then I'm thinking like, "Wait, what?" So just having the context of like someone in a different country, um, when you have that context, you're like, "Damn, I guess I got it good." I'm thinking I'm middle class. I thought it was fine because I'm like, okay, if we can buy game systems um like that and they can't do shit, then I guess they're poor. Like I had no idea, but mind you, in American context, we were like getting by kind of poor. You know what I mean? Because mom still had a job, but she was gonna have retirement income soon. Grandpa had retirement income. Dad had my dad's been working this whole time. My dad's been working since the '80s, man. But yeah, you learn a lot or you break. Definitely learn. I feel like I did. I mean, I feel like I broke. I don't know if broke is the right word, but there was a time I swear to God for like 8 9 months, I just sat around in my house. I sat around in my room, and I only left to go get Wendy's. I had no aspirations to make money or get it, and I just played Pokemon Diamond or some shit. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like I went through that too, where like having to sell. Like now that I'm older, I'm starting to get stuff back, but like I'm also like still willing to sell things. You know what I mean? I'm still in that same mindset, but I remember that. I remember selling things, and why I guess I won't get too descriptive on that, but I used to sell things just to like make money for technical college. So I think I know what you mean. But my brother was like that too. He used to sell. It's funny, and this is the fucked up era where like you would bring shit to was it Game Crazy, EB Games, and GameStop, and like whatever was available, and you would get like half off of what you're trying to get from it. Like you couldn't get $40 on a game. You had to get like you get 20 or $15 on it. So it wouldn't amount to shit. You might even get $10, and they resell it for 30 plus, I should say. But yeah, man, I kind of see what you're saying. But that's what I mean. I was like, I used to be this hot headed kid, just angry and always ready to fight about some dumb shit. And then when I started going through that stuff with my own household, I already had the empathy for people that were less privileged, like people in other countries. But then the context of like having to move and then move all your shit, I was like, what, that's more of it's a different type of empathy. It's like, okay, I get it now. When people said they had to move and other people always move around, like I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't imagine traveling light. I just love the idea of collecting shit. You go to the carnivals, you win prizes. Your dad wins you a prize, your mom wins you a prize, and then you can just collect it. Like to go from that to like willing to get rid of it, putting it to Goodwill for donations type shit. That was like later on though. That's what I'm saying. But the anticipation of it and then the stress of like that might happen started to loom. But yeah, it's interesting because the way it lined up with time, it's like this is fifth grade. So around like I said, fifth grade, I'm like boxing in my basement, and I'm like, I guess I'll do this shit until I find a Muay Thai place because I watched Ong Bak as a kid. When I watched Ong Bak as a kid, I was like, that this is all I care about is Muay Thai. I don't even know where to find a gym. There was no gyms in the hood. There was no gyms in the city. Back then, you had to go all the way to like Everett or Bothell or some shit. Like you had to go hella deep just to find some Muay Thai shit. So I ended up just finding these boxing gyms later on when I was in sixth grade, a couple months later, just in the neighborhood, and like just me being there, I remember thinking like, damn, this might be my ticket. I don't know. And it's like you can imagine the amount of stress of like we're trying to move, but we're trying to stay in the area, and then this might be my ticket. If I just stay focused on this, I might be able to be something because I didn't have too much belief in myself before that. People told me I was good at drawing, but I was like, drawing is hard. I have to draw all these panels, I have to color it in, and then I have to find people to like, you know, copy and reprint it, copy and reprint it. You know what I mean? So that's the interesting part, man. It's like you find this shit when you're young where it's like, this might be my ticket. This is probably the thing. And that's why it's fucked up because it's like being a kid. It's like, let me think. If I'm doing math for '05, I'm about 12 years old. So 11 to 12 because my birthday's in the middle of the year. That was skating for you? Yep. Yeah. I know that feeling, man. But it's like you're supposed to just be living and dreaming. Like I never. I was always a responsible person. Not saying that I wasn't invited to shit, not invited to parties and get-togethers and shit, but I was already the weird kid that was like, man, I'm just minding my fucking business. I don't need people to figure me out. I don't need people to know what's going on in my life. I'm already not trying to deal with people verbally unless I have to really deal with you, you know. But I would just be always going to the gym after school anyway. So to have this sense of responsibility during a time when you should be outside hanging out with your friends and and getting into trouble, I guess. I was actually staying out of trouble trying to be responsible from like 12 to like what 17, 16, something like that. So and again, I was doing all that without making money. I was just keeping myself out of the way. I wasn't getting paid to fight. I wasn't getting paid to do anything yet. Um, or never did actually. I never got. I was just doing straight amateurs for a long time, but that was it. And just training. Just keeping myself out the whatever. And I talked to my coach about this when I got older, and she was like, "Yeah, man, it's interesting because even though there was no profit, you kept yourself out of trouble and out of harm's way. You didn't start dreaming until you were 16. That only lasted till 18. Really? You got to keep dreaming. You got to keep dreaming. I mean, I see what you're saying, but I think yeah, you got to keep dreaming. It's a healthy thing because it's a human thing. You know what I mean? I like dreaming because it's like there's a piece of me that has become very practical, and I'm able to bring myself down to earth. So I just feel like you need a balance. But that's just me. I still dream about like I look at. Hold on, let me show you this. I grew up seeing a lot of these houses growing up. You're back to it now. No, yeah, I see what you mean. I definitely know. I definitely knew what you meant. But like during that time period, it must have been dark for you. All these nice houses down here. It's like I grew up seeing these. Actually, one of my classmates. You can't really see because the trees in the way. But there's like a house up there, like a 2 or 3 door garage joint, something like that. His dad always had these nice cars, and I was like, damn, I'm gonna be like his dad in the future. He was one of those kids that I ain't gonna say he had it good. 'Cause I don't know. I feel like his parents were hard on him, but they had it made. Like they had money and shit. And they were able to keep him out of trouble. Well, no, that's not fair. He used to always get in trouble, even though he was probably might he might have really been the middle class kid that was trying to get in trouble. But we had a lot of hood rich kids like that, man. Because it's a long story. I guess I have time today. That's why I said earlier, piece of the Southside, because we out here, or I was earlier, was like I said, I'm not gonna give up the location, but it's the heart of the Southside. You know, one of the most feared gangs at one time was just sitting right there on that corner. I'm not saying I'm with them. I knew a few people from there, but that was their spot. And I remember my homie, fucking New Year's. No, I'm sorry, 4th of July. He didn't understand the area. He came through. He pulled. He took a left. We're like, bro, you got to U-turn the fuck out of here right now. On 4th of July, you can't be here on the 4th. He didn't understand. I was like, bro, either you go straight through, or you Yui right now. And we got out of there. Like, all right, cool. But that was the park I was at, pretty much. That was where I was at. That whole section. The only thing that stayed strong over there was the church, which is funny. The church and the basketball court's a little torn up, but it is what it is. But no, man, it's yeah. I think it's fucked. I was talking to my coach about that shit, and she was like, "Yeah, you kept yourself out of trouble this whole time." And I was like, "Yeah, it's true, but I had, I ain't gonna say I slipped up, but I had to make decisions, money related decisions. So then that started to come into play. I'm being very vague, obviously, but and she just understood it. She was like, "Yeah, I get it. I get it." I mean, it's just it's just the cards I was dealt, and this was the choice I decided to make because I could have kept being like a righteous person, I guess. I still believe in some degrees I am, but you know, I mean, you got to think about it. It's the whole saying of I got to do what I got to do. Like people say that all the time growing up, but it's like if what you have to do is harming other people to elevate yourself and your people, we got to really question that and ask ourselves, what is this crab mentality that we're okay with? And that's not okay with me the older I get. So to forgive myself is one thing. Like I didn't say I didn't do nothing crazy like off the top of legal. Like I had morals and you know principles, if you will. But even then, it's like it's your hand gets tested. You know what I mean? And I will say, living in being born and raised in America, it's like you always have the choice to make the better option, but it's just hard to be righteous. You know what I mean? I see guys all the time that just they've been 9 to 5 in it for 25, 30 years. The most righteous people stay out of trouble, keep their nose clean, etc. Take care of families, take care of people, and they ain't making as much as like other people. You know, they ain't making as much as people who you know, like I knew, come on, man, I knew 14-year-olds that were sitting on 10,000 type shit. Knew how to make it, lose it, get it back. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's like I'm not condoning that shit. It just was what it was. But the fact that it's out there lets you know that like you can make all this off of someone else's you know, pain and addiction, pretty much. That's pretty much what that is. And I was like, the older I got, I was like, I don't know if I could I don't know if I can condone that. You know, there's a time where I condoned it, so I feel like a hypocrite. But it's like, you know what? I don't know if I'm not with that. I ain't with that. The older I get, you know. So it's a tricky one because it's like there's a lot of dudes, and it's hard for them to admit that they'll hustle just to stunt. They'll hustle for shoes, man. Dudes will hustle for shoes before survival. But there's a very few people that hustle for survival, and you know it's fucked up because I walked past. I didn't film it, but I walked past. Changing with time is a sign of maturity. Yeah, and it's you know it's funny because I still bump some of my favorite music. I listen to a lot of hip hop, but it relates to that. It relates to a lot of you know, violence and hustling. I ain't gonna lie, but it's just I'm not gonna say it's relatable because I never did that shit really. But it's just it's so close to the proximity of what I was used to that it's familiar. I guess it's familiar, and you know the beats are good. I fuck with the beats, but it's interesting because you know I walked past my I didn't show the place, but I walked past my homie's house that we grew up like down the street from each other. And we were friends since first grade or whatever. But it took me years to find out that his mom was just just whatever. She was serving on the side. She was flipping on the side. She was just buying and flipping things. You know what I mean? She was just making money because like I thought about it, like, every time I kicked it. There was a time where like I dropped out of school and I didn't have a job yet. Or I dropped out of school, had a job, lost it, and I was pretty much just like on some bum shit. And I was just like kicking it at his house. Come to find out, you know, like I just never thought about it. But I was like, oh yeah, his mom is always home. Like she's always home. But every now and again she would leave the house. Every now and again she'd come back. But you know, she would just be there. She'd come back and then she was doing things, you know. And I just never put two and two together. It was just so normal to see her just say hi. Hey, is so and so home? Can he it's okay to come inside? She didn't give a fuck, you know. She was just so used to having us around. And it was also like it helped, you know, because when people would come around and do transactions with her, come over to the house, the fact that all these dudes is in the house, you know what I'm saying, a bunch of YNs and whatnot, we just in there posted up playing fucking Smash Bros. Motherfuckers just smoking. It smelled like weed in the house. We're just like I didn't smoke at the time, but it's like all the homies are just smoking and we're just kicking it. Motherfuckers playing games. Sometimes I bring a bottle. If I had an older homie that would buy the bottle for me, we just be at the house. So like motherfuckers would come in the house with transactions and shit. They would see all these dudes in the house and just be a little scared, like, oh, I gotta be on point in here. This is some real shit. And it worked to her favor. She loved having us around because it was like, you know how women have that thing too, where like they'll manipulate the scene, they'll manipulate the whatever. And I'm not judging her. It's just like, but if you know, like we knew if someone did try to put their hands on her, we would jump in. That's the homie's mom, and it's funny. Well, I ain't gonna say it's funny, but it's a little crazy because there was one day we weren't there, and then some dude who got real comfortable tried to do some shit, and he ended up getting kicked out. He ended up getting arrested. I was like, you don't do that shit to her. Everybody on the block knew her too. So they're like, yeah, you don't do that to her. And then next time we saw that dude was maybe a year and a half or a year later. I guess he got out for whatever. He got out finally, and this dude was serving hot dogs at the fucking. They got this little. There's this weird little hot dog stand that's attached to these bathrooms near this park. You know, kind of near Nova, like across from Nova at the Garfield Community Park, whatever. And fucking yeah, he was over there serving hot dogs, and my homies used to just rob the sodas out of his fucking his fridge. Because he would be bumping Cube 93, right? And mind you, lunch is around like noon. So noon, Cube 93 would do old school lunch. Old school lunch is when they play everything from like the 80s and 90s. But because it was 2009, you would hear a lot of '90s shit. So like all this like still DRE, you know what I mean? Forgot about Dre, like all that shit would be playing. Bro, my Mexican homies would be in there just bobbing their head, just reciting all the West Coast songs. And as they're singing it, like the guy, he'd be bobbing his head too, like flipping the hot dogs and like, yeah, you like that? And as soon as he turns back, you know what I'm saying? Coca Colas and Fantas and shit, motherfuckers snatching shit. And I was like, you know what, man? I was like, hey, I hate to ask you, can you grab one? So I was with my homegirl. Me and my homegirl to walk over. And like, I only had like $5 on my end. I was like, hey, can you get one for her? He's like, I got you. My God. I ain't gonna say his name, but yeah, he was quick with his hands, man. And he ended up boxing too. He's probably the best out of all of us that went to the gym. That dude was a beast. He was just snatching sodas. It was like an everyday thing, bro. That dude, his whole, it's funny because like he tried to flip out and crash out of the homie's mom's house. He ended up getting locked up for it. Came back a year later or something funny. Did the hot dog stand. He got his hot dog stand robbed every day, the whole week. He just could not catch a break, man. The man could not catch a break. I ain't saying he was a foul person, but he just couldn't catch a break in life. I'm trying to think the last time I saw that dude. He wasn't homeless, but he was doing something. He was selling something. It was either real change papers or something like that. But yeah, it's funny. You see a lot of different people come and go. Um, you see a lot of people come and go. Yeah, it's what it is, man. It's home of the Bulldog, home of the Panthers over here, training like Epo, but snatching snacks. I'm saying, bro. And you know what's funny? This is before that dude's Epo arc. Because I remember I kept. Oh no, it was around the same time maybe. Because I remember in middle school, he's one of those like it's the Mexican homie. He's one of those that has like the long shorts, the high knee socks type of shit. And he was a clown though. He was just always clown around. But I was like, I'm not gonna say his name, but I was like, hey, bro, you look like you could do Muay Thai. You look like if you popped your elbows out and you'd be swinging, like you'd be hella good. And he was laughing. He's like, nah, man. And I remember I brought it up again because we had like Spanish class together. And he said, man, you really think so? I was like, bro, just I don't know, just come to the gym, just start with boxing maybe, and then just I think you should find Muay Thai. He was a straight up cholo, and he really was from Mexico too. That was my guy, and gel in the hair and everything, gel in the hair. Um, that was my guy. He's a fucking clown, man. Really good dude, really good guy at heart. You know what I mean? And his dad was keeping him and his brother out of trouble. They lived in like we had this area. I don't want to snitch on the street. Like I feel like if I do these interviews, I have to talk with a friend that was really from that block. But we had this area, because I grew up with hella black people. We didn't know how to classify people. You know what I mean? So me and my guys would just be like, we would just call this area the barrio. And it's funny because like in the barrio, they had an actual name for what they called it, and it was like a straight up. It's really a block in the middle of the hood. Like it's like one or two blocks in the middle of the hood, with like an apartment complex, and it was just all Mexicans and El Salvadorians. And there was another one that was closer to my house that had all the immigrants. So shout out to my Fijian homies and my El Salvadorian homies that grew up on 18th near the fucking old TT Miner. Cause them motherfuckers used to bark at people all the time. I used to spar with those guys in their driveway. That was fun times, man. We used to kick it all the time. Motherfuckers would skateboard and spar. That's all we did. It's like kid shit, and they just talk shit. And then them guys started changing schools and shit. But anyway, back to my homie that this dude, he started coming to around the time I stopped going to the gym. But him and his brother started getting good. And then me and his little brother did like a speed bag exhibition, so that was fun. We were just like doing a little demonstration with the quick hands, so that was cool to kick it with him. And then later on, I guess as the years went on, like towards because I had dropped out sophomore year, so when my friend ended up being a senior, I believe, he was still doing amateurs, and because he was learning from everyone in the gym, he learned a bit from me, and then he just kind of he took everything from that, and then he just kept going. And I was like, bro, just keep tapping in with the coach because dude got some philosophies and some some secret techniques a lot of people don't know. So he's like, all right. He just stuck on top of it for like a good year or 2 years, and then lo and behold, they had this. They had a what do you call this? Damn, what do you call it? It was an event. It was an amateur event at the community center. So they had to set up the ring and everything, and he was in there. He was one of the main events because he was fighting at 168 maybe 168, 175, somewhere in that.